I'm not going to kill it. I'm not going to kill it, even though it does sound like the Zerg from StarCraft 2, like almost identical noises. I just went and checked it out, actually. It's a few octaves out, so I can't claim that one. I am CouchCube, and this is a review of patch 1.7.36, dropped on the 9th of October, and quite applicable to me, this one. It's PC targeted with a lot of performance and stability issues. They've focused on it, apparently, so I'm all up for that. One thing that's annoyed me, I use GeForce Capture. When I'm playing the game, I get a lovely frame rate figure in the corner. When I obviously capture it, it disappears. It likes to mess with me constantly. So that one I can only apologise for, but I know in the footage where it dropped there is improvements, and there's something else weird going on as well. I noticed something with the shadows, but that could well have been in previous versions of the game. The Delectable Skill Up has just put a video out 6 hours ago about Starfield's Steam score going down below Fallout 76's score, when 76 has had work done on it, to say the least, over what, 4 years or something like that. And this is Starfield day one. I don't know why that's happening on PC. This patch has certainly shown me a thing or two. He also dropped the clanger that he hasn't actually played the game. This guy's coming up to 1 million subscribers. He is supposed to be positioned as one of the industry's leading critics on YouTube. Do you think he's proactively avoiding it? I was absolutely blown away at that. Him and his brother probably have got two of the most powerful PCs in Australia. There is no excuse to not look at this game, and it is not terrible. I think they've done something with the shadows. Now, this is why this patch is important to me. I run this game on a very mid-level PC. It's a 1660, so I'm going with medium settings. So any GPU optimization or anything that locks my frame rate is really appreciated. Now, prior to the patch, I didn't have huge complaints about this game. It was operating between 20 and 30 on a frame rate level when things were uber busy. All the other times it was a flat 30 on planet surface, and when I was in interiors, particularly smaller ones, it went straight up to like 40 and 50. It was quite a dynamic system. You'll also know that I'm absolutely bloody crazy about a smooth pan or dolly, and dodgy frame rates or frame drops interrupt that movement. And it's very, very smooth, this game, particularly in photo mode, which it actually boosts the frames on. It doesn't look like 30 frames per second when you're doing that, but an in-game rock around, it is certainly noticeable after this patch on my particular PC, the smoothness, and that's very welcome. It sat at 31 for some strange reason, and it kind of stayed there, but I did push things a bit. Also tried to keep all of this testing on the one planet. Ends up being 3 planets, but look at this. No Man's Sky plagiarism with the colour palette. Sean Murray's probably sitting up in his chair. I love the vibrancy, the turquoises in the sky, and combined with the different view modes, you can really start getting settled in with creating your own scene. This planet was particularly colourful. They're not all as broad on a colour front as this. They can be quite drab, and that is one of my major complaints about the game. That complex up on that hill we do go to, it is occupied, and there's one juicy Easter egg in it. By the way, I'm in the Shova system, and they're sort of numerically named SHOVA, and this particular planet doesn't require a spacesuit. It's kind of perfect for putting a base on, which I've not done an outpost yet. That's so massive, that section, the farming and the mineral mining, that it's too much for me. The same with shipbuilding. I'm going or saving for a prefab. Yes, I'm still going around in the Razor Leaf. So it turns out to be a derelict robot manufacturing factory, and if you know Starfield or you have a PC as shit as mine, then you'll realise that this is a real culprit area. Being outside daytime as well, because it's dealing with a lot more shadows and fighting stuff and explosions, it would all sort of come together. Sometimes you'd see it between 15 and 20 frames per second. It was a little bit embarrassing. This is totally workable and fine. You can see we've got smoothness. It's sat at 30, dipped a little bit, maybe to 22, but I wasn't disturbed. And I can very much notice the difference. I'm getting good optimization with this patch.
Unable. Repair.
That heat haze has always bothered me a little bit. That does point to the settings not being on high. Now let's talk about what I found in one of the random buildings in this solar system, and it's a tiny little bit of extra Vass' backstory, that when you talk to Vasco, he says that he was manufactured on the moon, right? He's got quite a big conversation thread, but this is certainly not the moon. And yeah, there he, and I was like, no, that's just one of the other robots that looks a bit like him. No, totally a weird Polaroid of him on a sort of random whiteboard in a building in the middle of nowhere on a tiny little planet at the corner of the galaxy. Just having an equipment flex here. Well, actually, if you hold down the far right button in the center of your Xbox pad, you'll go to an added zoom mode that allows you a different angle on the rock around. It's well cool. It allows you to look at your armor or what you're wearing just that little bit more closer. Having a planet that's got an atmosphere that doesn't require a spacesuit also allows you to explore some of that first layer look. Now, let's talk about atmosphere, and let's talk about that rain that I showed you earlier on with the lightning. I've only really ever seen proper rainstorms on Neon. It was really cool to see one on a planet, and I know that's not coincidence or patch related, but also we see wicked sandstorms. I just seem to have had a better rollout after that patch with extreme weather when visiting these planets within the Shova system. I thought I'd take this opportunity to visit the combat with this storm going on, and there was no major pressured frame rate drops. It was pretty damn smooth. I realised I was also resting next to a flammable canister there and cryo mines, freezing the poor guys. But these Vasco variations with almost like the pirate stuff around them, not seen them before. Again, not patch related. I've just reached rank 20, which means I can visit slightly higher solar system entry levels, so that's probably a result of that, but great fun.
Damage. High. Catastrophic damage.
If you watched my original review of the game on release, you'll remember me talking about how horrendous it is fighting any wildlife or larger wildlife out on a planet's surface. It just really lost it, and it has improved. It's not 100%. When you start tangling with big things, it does get in a bit of a panic, and if you're using your jetpack and whipping around with where you're looking, it can get hella confusing, but it holds together a lot better now. These horrifically afflicted giraffe tongue-like things, that everything's got a name that is like the first thing that popped out of someone's head, and it takes the shine off a lot of stuff. They could have had like some sort of Latin algorithm or something where they were just really long, unpronounceable, just like IKEA does, where it comes up with this like bullshit punchy pronoun. Anyway, herbivores are supposed to be passive. You can rile them up, but you can get pretty damn close. That went wrong. They all turned on me, which was a brilliant opportunity to see whether they've sorted out this sort of mass creature frame drop issue. And this is so workable, right? I'm not seeing any judder. I looked up and it was like 25, 30, because there's a hell of a lot of them on screen. But yeah, they chased me to the razor leaf. I had to just escape. And then when I was looking at the windscreen, they were all just still loafing around. It's funny stuff. As you can tell, I've got a bit of a soft spot for the game. It allows me to see loads of new things all the time and not do new things, certainly, but it also allows me to play it looking half decent. And when it was being announced and stuff, I was just like, I'm never going to get to see this game or play it properly, but lo and behold, it works on the mid-level system. They've really rinsed all that optimization out to give you quite an incredible experience. This is only going to get better. People are always moaning that there's no vehicle on the planets. They didn't put one in Fallout 4, did they? They didn't break on that front, so I'll be interested to see if there is going to be a moon buggy. I was, of course, Couch Cooper. We'll keep the Starfield content coming on the patch front, and I'll see you down there.
nearby units. The suspect is still at large in the area.